Hello and welcome to a new week of making the right decision. Today we're going to talk about making ethical decisions. The objective is to understand a simple framework so we can make the ethical decisions which are connected with our morality and practicing it safely in the day-to-day life. Let's explore a little bit more. What are ethical decisions? Those that align with our values and are considered for the greater good. Ethical dilemmas often arise when we're faced with conflicting interests or tough choices. So think of a time where you had to make a decision between what is right and what is good. Yes, there can be this difference. So let me give you an example. A teenager asked me once, Saurav uncle, if you are the Prime Minister of India and you have a very rich businessman who's got lots of stocks in the stock market doing something wrong, and you have the opportunity to expose them, what would you do? Now, why is this a dilemma? Ethically, we would what? We would expose them, let the law take its course. But as soon as the person is exposed, the stock market would crash and all the people, middle class, upper class, low class, honest people would lose their lifelong savings. What would you do? Think about it. And think of certain dilemmas. Of course, you could have small dilemmas in your life where you could have your driver who you see has taken some money. At the same time, you want to fire him, but you have a medical emergency. What do you do? Ethically, he should not be your driver anymore. What do you do? Ask yourself this question. So, what makes a decision ethical? One, values, which align with personal and organizational principles. So, these are the values that are created in us while we are growing up. What do I believe in? Integrity, honesty, discipline, coming on time. These could be the values you have. Being well dressed, being fresh and clean, not stinking. All these could be values. The second part is the impact a decision would have on the larger society. How ethical or how a value based decision can impact your decision in society. And finally, what is fair? So, what is the practice that you've been doing? And are you going to follow the same with this person? Fairness comes when you get past your likes and dislikes for a person. I like a person, so let me give them this chance. I don't like this person, so they get no chance. So, going beyond likes and dislikes and doing the right thing based on action. That is your fairness. The values, impact of your decision, and the fairness of your decision decides if a decision is ethical or not. Think of it now. Isn't it hard to make an ethical decision? Absolutely, it is. That's why we need to think deeper and always question ourselves when we're making ethical decisions. Okay, so how do you resolve this? Now, when you have a challenging situation where you need to make a decision coming up in your life, and please do share in the group with me if you have experienced an ethical dilemma. Okay? Identify the dilemma. What is the issue and who is impacted by it? So look at the people who are impacted by this. What will happen? So let's say you have a household of 10 people, there is a cook, and he slept late and you don't allow for late sleeping. You detest it. You want people to be on time. Will you fire them? Let's say you've given them three chances and they're not changing. But you know, as soon as you fire them, there is no replacement at the moment and people will get impacted. What will you do? What is your decision at that point of time? Similarly, at work, work is, of course, easier examples. I'm giving you examples that are hard to find because In work, it's very simple. I have a programmer or a coder who was looking at a shopping site which was not allowed. He's working on a very serious project. What do I do? Okay. So, firstly, looking at what the core issue is, who's going to get affected. Consider your value. So, when you're looking at it, why is it a dilemma? Because it's not working with your values. So, look at all the values that you have and just basically list them out. Then, finally, evaluate what will happen based on the multiple decisions you can make. So, observe in your mind, if I make this decision, this is possible. If I make this decision, this is possible. And continue to evaluate each possible outcome. Then finally, choose the outcome that least impacts your values. That means aligns most with your values, least impacts the larger people. So anybody innocent should not go away. The Indian legal code is that, right? We can let go of 20 guilty people, but one innocent person should not be punished at any point. So minimizing harm. So think of this, identify the dilemma, what's the core issue, what's affected, consider your values, what is impacting or what part of your values are impacted by it. Evaluate all possible options and then make a decision. So now I want you to practice creating this. So think of a problem that's happening, share your dilemma with me in the group, and let's see what we can come up with together. If it's something personal, send it to me one to one and we shall discuss it even further. Okay? Very simple, easy, no issues at all. So, what is your takeaway from this? Ethical decision making is not easy. Understanding this session is, but ethical decision making can be very hard. Secondly, is that what are you going to be able to do now, since you know that you can work in this framework? And it's okay at some point of time to let go of some values for greater good. I'm not saying let go of them all the time. You definitely need to punish people or reprimand people for what they're doing wrong. So either find replacement for them or put them on performance improvement plans so that they don't repeat their challenge. There's a beautiful story of a king and his guard. So a guard was hired and he's hired to take care of the security. He's standing outside the king's gate and his duty was in the night. So one night he just slept off. And when he slept, he saw the king was being conquered by his enemy, that the enemy's army is coming and they conquer him. And the next morning, he ran to the king and said, King, 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 I saw this in my sleep and I know all my dreams come true. So the king got prepared, got his army prepared, and defeated his enemy because of the dream he saw. What would the king do next? The ethical dilemma is he's a guard, he's not supposed to sleep. At the same time, he saved the king. So the king rewarded him and then fired him. That is how you can work your decisions. All right, so let me know how you did like this session. I shall be back more next week.